Welcome back to Daytime Live. So last week in downtown Kingston, a small group of environment and climate advocates staged a protest against deep sea mining, or DSM, and they were calling for a ban on the practice. They were holding placards and chanting slogans. They emphasized the potential environmental devastation posed by DSM, particularly disrupting vital carbon storage and risking extinction of critical species and habitats.
Yeah, so joining us today via Zoom to shine some more light on this is educator Davia Hilton. Davia, welcome. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.
Okay, so the first thing that I think everybody wants to know is what exactly is deep sea mining?
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's mining at the level of the deep sea. So if you can imagine mining on land, and a lot of Jamaicans can, imagine that in the very delicate ecosystems of the deep ocean.
Oh, wow.
So ocean, so it's the actual waterbed that they're digging up. That's what's happening.
Right. All the way out into the deep ocean. So it's like 1,000 meters deep, all the way down there where we can't survive under those pressures. That's the kind of area that they would be mining, and they'll be mining for metals.
For metals. I was going to ask that actually. Okay, so Davia, you guys were protesting, shouting chants and just making your feelings and your thoughts known. In your own words, why is it so important for persons to protest?
It's always important for civil society and citizens, members of the entire world, to just make their voice heard on any matter, especially environmental matters. So there's a select group of people in that meeting, but they aren't the only ones that would be affected by anything that happens on the planet. So it can't just be them making the decisions. We are out here on the outside to let them know that civil society voice matters, or voice matters, and we care about our planet, and we want to see it being preserved and cared for so that we can inherit an earth that is survivable, not just for us and our generation, but generations to come.
Agreed. Yeah, we live here too. You know?
And I see some of the placards, which I love. One of them say, first of all, we need more data on sea mining because you don't know the damages that it's doing. But the other one that I love say, I feel the ocean, I don't feel you alone, I feel your own. Yeah. And I love that as well, yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned you mentioned that they were mining for metals earlier. Can you give us an idea of the metals that they're mining for?
Sure. There are these little nodules called polymetallic nodules. So they have poly meaning many. So they have cobalt, lithium, a lot of different materials that they claim that is needed for the green transition. So, or battery systems for solar energy and such. But a lot of the scientists and environmentalists that are creating those battery systems for or renewable energy systems are now saying that they don't want to use metals. And if you mine the deep sea, they will not use those conflict metals. So it's a question of why are they still pushing mining so heavily? I understand that they had good intentions, or they wanted to seem as if they had good intentions, but all the people who are actually doing the environmental work are saying no. That will not help us. It will only harm us.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that to me. It's almost like you're ruining the world in an effort to try and save it. It doesn't really make sense to me. You know, as a layperson looking on, I remember something similar happening in the Congo. They did a lot of that kind of mining. It wasn't deep sea, but a lot of that kind of mining. This kind of destroyed and destabilized the Congo.
Yeah. But what you said, Craig, is really impactful because you said about destroying our world, Congo, but let's localize it a little bit for here in Jamaica. Davia, what will that type of mining do to our environment right in Jamaica? What will it do to our environment here?
Right. So anyone who's lived in a mining area in Jamaica can see how they strip the land, how it affects our air quality, how it causes so much asthma, how people are really suffering, how entire communities are decimated, farming communities are decimated. So now imagine that in the ocean where we have our ocean life that's necessary for our lives on land as well, by the way. But ocean life at that depth takes a long time to recover. Years, decades. If you should throw some dirt in the water right now, you'll see how long it takes to settle, how it's going to be suspended in the water. So imagine that on a large scale mining scale, right? So it's like it could be there for decades, just muddied waters taking decades to settle, the kind of settlement that you can see from space. Where they're planning to mine right now is the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, which is out in the Pacific Ocean, and it's some of the clearest waters in the world. So you can imagine that the ecosystems that have developed there have developed under those conditions. So you'll be killing all those organisms that depend on the light to feed, including the phytoplankton and all the flora, and then that would form the base of their food chain. And if the base of your food chain is upset or messed with, then the other animals won't be able to feed off and continue to live. We also have the noise level that affects us on land as well when they do mining on land. In the sea, it's, you know how water is going to take up all those particles, the particles are going to take up all, it's going to vibrate more. It's going to be so loud for mammals like whales that use sonar positioning that survive off of the including tuna, which we love to eat. So it's not just fish that, you know, exist out there that we don't know enough about, which there are a lot of. There are species that we do not know that could even have the cure for cancer, but there are species that we know and are familiar with that will be affected, that we eat or we depend on for our lives or livelihoods or jobs.
Facts. What you just said is so poignant though, Davia. Yeah,
so if anyone who's watching would like to sign a petition or find out more on social media, where would they go to find this information?
They can follow my Instagram page. It's one of the Planeteers. They can follow the Jamaica Climate Change Youth Council Instagram page, which is OurFootprintJA. And if you want to look at international responses, there is Greenpeace and there is Deep Sea Conservation Coalition. So they have all the information. They have a site as well to sign petitions because it's an international thing. It just so happens that the International Seabed Authority is headquartered in Jamaica. So we do need a local response to, you know, stand outside those meetings and let them know that this is not just about you and we care too. But there are a lot of information and lots of different petitions online that you can find. Yes.
Sorry, thank you so much for joining us. Like what you're saying, no man, you have our hearts here and we really want you to come in studio and talk to us, because I think a lot of us aren't as aware of certain things and the damage that it caused to us as it should be. So thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really, really appreciate that. You have to come down and come teach with the things that we want to know.
Awesome.
I'd love to.
Thank you very much.